As the movie opens, a terrified man makes a run for his life deep in the woods. His pursuer is nowhere to be seen, and he is lucky to make it to the road. But unfortunately, the scene then cuts to a detective named Jamie, getting briefed on the previous man's case, Angel Torres, who is now in a coma. Angel was a night guard at a morgue, and something terrible over there triggered him to flee. Since Angel cannot explain what events took place, Jamie heads for the morgue to kickstart the investigation as the lead detective. Jamie landed 3 hours ago after taking a trip to visit his daughter, Eva, but for some reason opts to dive into this particular case. His colleagues Pablo and Mateos fill him in on the details, but the case keeps growing, as Jamie learns that a body mysteriously vanished the same night in the morgue. The body is revealed to be that of a wealthy businesswoman, Mayka, which was pending for an autopsy. She had passed away that afternoon from a cardiac arrest, and was declared dead. Her disappearance was mysterious, and subsequently made Angel panic and flee in fear. Minutes before fleeing, he made an emergency call seeking help from the authorities, but barely described the ordeal. The team seemingly hit a dead end, as someone cut off the security cameras at the time, leaving a single one. The footage shows Angel catching wind of the disruption, and heading over to check things out, before storming out shaken 5 minutes later. It becomes clear he witnessed the events leading to the body's disappearance, but only he can recount them. With the security code to the control room breached, Jamie affirms that someone plotted to steal the body, and successfully executed it. He immediately splits his team to cover the morgue and woods, and he is then briefed on Mayka's profile. The lady comes off as filthy rich, as she owns a pharmaceutical company, where her young husband, Alex, works. The scene then cuts to Alex's house, where his sister alongside Mayka's mother, have joined him to mourn. They empathize with him as he lays down, overwhelmed by his wife's sudden demise. Shortly afterward, as they leave, Alex is seen staring at them. He immediately jumps on his bike, and speeds off into the night. Moments later, he meets a lady named Carla, who is revealed to be his mistress. He then confirms that they are now finally free to be together. Upon hearing this, Carla spills some drink for toast. But their moment is interrupted by a call from Jamie, breaking the news to Alex that his wife has disappeared. Carla grows tense, but Alex calms her down, saying he executed his plan perfectly with no voids to incriminate him. It's clearly revealed that Alex took out his wife, and her death was not an accident as presumed. To avoid raising suspicion, he sets out to meet Jamie, who notes that their strongest hypothesis is that someone stole the body. He says that the person could be doing so to hurt him, or her family, as it's seemingly a personal attack. He is also quick to note that Alex wasn't home earlier when they called him, but Alex brushes it off, saying he went to fetch painkillers for his headache. Just then, Jamie is called to meet Dr. Tapia, who signed Mayka's death earlier on. Left alone, Alex immediately calls Carla to inform him of Angel, who seems to be the key element in the case. He asks her to verify Angel is in a coma, and deletes the call log as he is called in for questioning. Later, Dr. Tapia says the cardiac arrest could have been a result of her anxiety flying, as she had just landed the same morning from her business trip at Los Angeles. However, she inquires about her history to rule out catalepsy as a possible situation. This is a condition when the body hits zero, and could be easily mistaken to be dead, meaning Mayka would not be technically dead. She could have awoken way later, and possibly scared the guard who was alone at the time. The doctor also gives a second scenario, where it could be induced by subjecting one to extreme stress or using chemical toxins. Detective Jamie finds the first explanation vague, as she would have instead called for help. The prevailing conditions clearly lead him to believe someone stole the body, to prevent an autopsy that would reveal the cause. Jamie slowly starts to point his fingers at Alex, who seems unmoved by his wife's demise a few hours ago. Jamie reveals he lost his own wife 10 years ago, but still gets emotional talking about her till date, unlike Alex. On the other hand, Alex grows impatient, and asks to be let out to rest after the hectic day, but Mateos asks him to hold on. Suddenly, the power goes off. While Alex is alone in the room, he suddenly hears a loud bang from another room. He carefully checks it out, and soon finds himself in the cold room where Mayka's body vanished into thin air. He finds her items there and looks into them, but is shocked to see a toxin among them. This gives him a flashback earlier in the day, He was using the same toxin to spike Mayka's drink. He then offered her the spiked drink as she relaxed in her tub after the long flight. Mayka says they've been apart for 3 weeks and have to talk, but Alex simply tells her that he has a meeting, even though Mayka can cancel the meeting if he wants to. Despite this, he proceeds to leave for work, and notices the woman gobbling down the drink as he leaves. The toxin was meant to induce cardiac arrest and leave no traces behind, something that came to pass 8 hours later. After drinking it, Mayka sets a date night for them, but Alex refuses to go, and says she will be sleepy from jet lag, so Mayka confidently assures him she will be well. Back in the morgue later that night, Alex hears Jamie and his team making their way in, and immediately pockets the toxin. Jamie scolds him for attempting to breach the investigation, as he notes Mayka's phone missing from the items. They immediately frisk him, as the items were fetched from a now broken locker in the same room. Jamie does a body check, and retrieves the toxin from his pocket, but Alex claims to have collected it on the floor, and was planning to dispose of it. Just then, Carla calls Alex's phone to report on Angel, but Alex refers to her as his sister to evade the sharp eyes of the detectives. He then asks to use the bathroom, and seizes the opportunity to call Carla back, who confirms that Angel is in a coma as stated. On the other hand, Alex reveals that someone might have a hand in the case, as they stole Mayka's phone to incriminate him. He vows to get to the bottom of it, as some of his secret plans are slowly surfacing, and spelling danger for him. But then, as he moves on to freshen up, a window slides open. He spots a letter there, and opens it, which turns out to be a dinner reservation with Mayka, but with additional writing saying "I close my eyes and you're still with me." This gives him a flashback, as he got home to find the reservation ready for their dinner. The dinner was meant to patch up things, as Mayka grew concerned of losing him as he started coming home late. However, Alex brushed off her fears, and they went on to make up. Later that night, Alex got a love message from Carla, saying she sees him even after closing her eyes. And then, as he reads the message, back in the morgue, Alex gets chilled as this would mean Mayka somehow survived the ordeal, and is back to haunt him. But then, Mateos comes to recall Alex, who has been in the bathroom for a while. To keep the letter away, he attempts to flush it away, only to realize there isn't water available. Having no other option, he devours the letter from the toilet, barely holding himself from throwing up. Mateos then leads him to the now open security room where all systems are controlled from. A broken air duct in the room leads straight to the roof, and was possibly used by the intruder. Additionally, the intruder changed the calendar there to a date in the past, and used it as the security code. Jamie is curious to know if that date means anything to Alex, but he denies knowing about it. However, this gives him a flashback, as he keys in the same code in his work office some time ago. Mayka happens to have paid him a visit there unannounced, and jokingly added she saw him key the code. He is forced to explain it, and reveals it's a day they argued, as he barely likes it when they argue. Despite his cold behavior, Mayka fights hard to keep their love burning, as she surprised him with his favorite motorbike. Back in the morgue, Jamie reveals that footprints were noticed in the emergency exit, and they will soon be apprehending the person. He casually asks for Alex's shoe size, as he is continuously convinced he stole the body as a cover-up. During this, the power flickers and fire alarms suddenly go off, causing fire sprinklers to kick in and drench the whole building. While everyone moves to the lobby, Alex receives a call from Carla, so he explains the weird situations. But then, he spots a name tag used on the deceased bodies with Carla's name on it. He panics and asks Carla to flee immediately, as Mayka might still be alive, possibly knew of their affair, and would be coming for her. He also catches a glimpse of Mayka in the flickering lights. Moments later, as they end their conversation, Jamie gets back, and overhears him talking to his alleged sister. However, he is unable to trace their suspicious conversation, as Alex deletes the call logs, and Carla's number is unlisted. Later, the report on the toxin discovered earlier is brought in, and its effects are revealed. It induces cardiac arrest in 8 hours after ingestion, and leaves no trace behind, and thus a perfect weapon. Additionally, a cigarette puff found in the washroom Alex used earlier is suspected to have caused the fire. Jamie immediately asks for a transfer car to ship Alex to the station, and orders him to be put in a locked room in the meantime. With him isolated, the hunt continues, and this is when he finds the same drink he offered Mayka by the window. It turns out to be a dream. Just then, Alex hears music playing in the adjacent room, so he slowly enters it. He sees multiple bodies in the room, and finds the music comes from a ringtone from a phone. He finds it in a body bag, and to his utter shock, the call comes from Mayka's phone, which he fearfully picks up. Here, he hears an unclear woman's voice before the call ends. Alex discovers that Javier Alonso was tagged in the body bag. The call logs bear Mayka's name, and he fearfully calls in to listen. However, a lady on the other side says that someone left their phone in their restaurant's washroom at Arabesco. When Alex heard the name of the restaurant, Arabesco, he recalls Mayka seeing a guy in the middle of their dinner at the restaurant a couple of weeks before she goes on her business trip. After a brief chat with the man, Mayka returns to the table, and she informs Alex that he is her new lawyer. She wants to revise their marriage contract, regarding the property division. Alex is shocked to hear this, but it turns out to be a silly joke, and the man is actually her therapist. Back in the present, Alex immediately calls Carla to find more details on Javier Alonso, who could be the man Mayka met at Arabesco. Alex explains everything, and tells her that he's looking at the corpse of Javier Alonso right now. Meanwhile, a seemingly devastated Jamie smokes outside, as memories flood his mind, running 10 years back. His usually jolly life with his wife and daughter Eva was cut short in a brutal accident that left his wife dead. He has seemingly not moved on, and this particular case seems to have scorched the healing wound deeply. Later on, Jamie faces Alex with his now developed hypothesis, saying he might have eliminated his wife using the toxin, and later stole the body so there'd be no autopsy. However, Alex fiercely denies it, saying there is no proof against him, and goes ahead to effortlessly answer all Jamie's questions without incriminating himself. But things take an unexpected turn when Jamie reveals Mayka had hired a private detective 3 months ago. She might have suspected his infidelity, and put the detective on payroll to follow him up. Jamie speculates that the private detective might have collected evidence, which Alex caught wind of. Since this would give Mayka a chance to divorce him without sharing her wealth, he acted fast to counter her, and inherit the riches. When Jamie mentions the name of the detective to be Alonso, Alex is surprised, and leads Jamie to view Alonso's body. But surprisingly, the name on the body tag has changed, and Javier Alonso's name no longer appears on any of the tags. After seeing all the bodies, Alex is left puking in the toilet. Meanwhile, Pablo's team storm Alonso's office, but find nothing, as someone seems to have vandalized his entire work. Jamie issues a new order for them to visit Alex's house next. On the other hand, Alex calls Carla, who is now panicked. She found a letter on her way back home, containing a drive tagged Alonso. It contained pictures of them together in public, and even a voice recording of Alex's evil plot on his wife. Alex orders her to flee right away, but things escalate quickly as someone seemingly preys on Carla. She attempts to leave unsuccessfully, as a car comes speeding at her and knocks her over. Terrified by the hit sound, Alex attempts to leave the premises, but is held back by Jamie. Fearing for Carla and without another way out, he is forced to spill the beans to save her life. After sending a team to her address, Jamie asks a now incriminated Alex to narrate the events once more as he records. Alex starts by revealing how he met Carla 8 months ago, when he was teaching chemistry in her class. What started as a mere friendship morphed fast into an unbreakable bond, as Alex had issues with Mayka back home. However, Carla soon distanced herself from him, as she couldn't stand being a second option to him. Alex, who was madly in love, then acted accordingly to ensure he parted ways with Mayka, and inherited her wealth. However, he explains that Mayka, who seemed to have known his plot, might have switched the spiked drink at that moment. Being a chemist as well, she would have used a neuroleptic to slow her body down, and act dead. When the chemical wore down, she then rose from the dead to torment him. Just then, Jamie receives a call from Pablo, who reports that Alex's house has the answers to their case. They found blueprints of the morgue there, and an unregistered gun that was fired recently. They also found a shovel in Alex's car, alongside boots fitting description of footprints found in the morgue's emergency exit. During this, Jamie receives a call from the hospital, as Angel has finally woken up and recounted the events as well. It is revealed that after heading inside to check things out, Angel was shocked to find a body was missing, and it was lying in the lift. The lift door then closed, so Angel immediately called to report. But then, when the lift door was opened, he was suddenly attacked by a masked assailant, who shot at him several times, prompting him to flee, before getting run over. Despite this incriminating evidence against him, Alex denies having stolen the body, and holds that Mayka has been playing her cards on them. She has the power and money to vanish without a trace. However, Jamie is fed up with his unsupported argument, and takes him away, as his team finally finds a body in the woods. This is the last straw, and true to it, the team exhumes a body, which is positively identified as Mayka's. Alex is further surprised when the team reveals that no one goes by the name Carla, who lived in the address he gave, nor schooled in his class. Jamie adds that Carla was just a virtual character that helped him get rid of his wife to inherit her riches. Following this, Jamie orders the team to clear up the scene, as they wrap up the case. With his goose cooked, Alex attempts to flee. However, he barely makes it far before Jamie catches up. Now alone with him, Jamie says his helpless pose reminds him of his wife 10 years ago in an accident. He reveals that their car was hit, but to the inhumane nature of the guys, they fled before calling for help. Inside the car was Jamie and his daughter, alongside his deceased wife, who later succumbed to her injuries. For years, Jamie couldn't recall the car's plate, until his daughter recalled seeing a car mirror charm with a hotel name printed on it. This took years to track down, and here we finally see who hit them on that fateful night. Even more surprising, Carla isn't just a virtual character, she turns out to be Jamie's daughter, Eva, who put Alex on her radar. She needed to be sure they had the right people, and Alex, in his love, went on to share his darkest secrets, including the hit and run. Since then, the father-daughter duo have been slowly playing their cards in vengeance. They were the ones who orchestrated the incident that night when Mayka's body was missing. As Alex lays there helpless, Jamie recounts their moves as they slowly cornered him. They staged everything at the morgue, and Alex easily bought the story as planned. In the closing scene, Jamie points out to the forensic unit picking up Alex's wife's body, and reveals Alex will be joining her soon. He points out that Carla had spiked his drink earlier last night with the same toxin when Alex visited her, and that 8 hours had passed. With his wife's body and his confession in place, his death would be explained as a heart attack brought on by stress and guilt. The movie ends as Alex struggles to breath.